divorce court today. When Adam moved in with 3 women, he expected fireworks and ended up with an explosion. He and Heaven have been together for 9 years and still have issues with their old roommates, infidelity, and deceit. Adam Sanchez and Heaven Alexander have brought their dispute for Judge Lynn Toler to resolve. Testimony in divorce court starts now.
Mr. Sanchez, you say when you met Ms. Alexander, you liked her, but you didn't think you had a chance with her. Why is that?
Well, me and Heaven Alexander actually met back in 2005, and she's a beautiful woman, so it was easy to fall in love with her, easy to be attracted by her. But when we first met, I didn't think I had a chance because she was actually bisexual, lesbian world thing going on. So as a man, you don't really presume that you're gonna have that relationship.
Have a shot at it.
Exactly,
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? You let her live her life, there's no judgment calls. But I felt she was toying with me, telling me she liked me, and I didn't believe it. But turn around, she actually did.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Ms. Alexander, is that an accurate recitation of the manner in which you met?
It is. I was experimenting, and further along at the time when I met him, I was going to go into being with men, and I followed through with being with him, and that's where we landed, and he was very attractive, so I wanted to pursue him.
Well, now we're 9 years and 2 children later.
Yeah.
You have 2 children, ages
3 and 7.
3 and 7. What brings you here?
What I do believe is that we've had a lot of animosity and resentment built over the years. There's a lot of things between the both of us that we need to go ahead and resolve and get closure on. A lot of the bickering, pettiness that comes upon the arguments turn into bigger emotional situations, and it just needs to be settled. You need somebody, that's why we're glad to be here to talk to you about it, because it's a continuous cycle, Judge. It's like something from her leaving the microwave too high goes into some emotional breakdown later that happened 5 years prior to that, and we never get the issue resolved. Heaven's quick to say, let it go, let it go, let it go, and I don't feel that that's fixing anything. If we continuously let it go, we're just gonna sit here and be miserable.
Well, walk me through an argument that started over something silly and escalated into some grand occasion.
Okay, when we first met, when I first met, I was in the transition of moving from one home to another.
Right.
Back in 2005. As I indicated earlier, she was in her transition as far as her orientation. So she said, well, come stay with me.
Now, how long had you known her when she said, come stay with me?
That's a good question. It was only a matter of a month. Probably about a matter of a month, maybe a few weeks.
Don't make big decisions for small reasons.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? When you impose yourself or implicate yourself into somebody else's living situation, just because, oh, I'm in between places, might as well move in with her. It usually doesn't work out very well, but go ahead.
Obviously,
Yeah,
you see,
right.
it continued. It worked out for us as far as the long-term having children, but within our relationship and the structure and how we went into it, that's where we failed at, and that's where it faltered. So I definitely agree. Yet at the same time, I was young, so there's no excuse. The whole thing, Your Honor, is that I met her. She was living with people who, at the time, the girl was an ex of hers, and an argument, as you indicated, it would be something that, in those times, that they would do in the way that they would communicate, what would spark probably a jealousy thing in me, would be small, but then I would turn it in, or it would turn into something bigger that would make me feel very...
Now, hold up, Mr. Sanchez. Could it be that you said, here's a pretty woman who likes another pretty woman. They're living in the same house. Wouldn't it be neat for me to move in there too?
Well, all right, I'm red-handed, slap on the wrist. It was surreal, kind of like that, definitely.
Surreal.
But my intent was similar to the way that she presented it to me. We both were looking forward to move away from that chaos within our lives. So we came in, hit the ground running. And there was things about her that I just didn't take the time out to understand.
Right.
And more or less, she never took the time out to understand about me.
Okay, hang on. Mrs. Alexander, what do you have to say about the way the relationship started and how that impacted where you are today?
Well, when the relationship started, it wasn't exactly how I planned it. And with him coming in and being so attractive, you know, I didn't expect things to go the way that they did so fast, so soon. And when I approached him with the interest that I wanted to be with him. It was more so, it was being overlooked at the things that I was previously doing before he got there. Like, you know, being girlfriends with my girlfriend and, you know.
But girlfriends don't kiss. Do you kiss your best friends on the lips?
Well, let's not go there.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Alexander, did you not assume that having had a romantic relationship with anyone, male or female, and then moving a new romantic interest in to live with you and that old romantic interest, didn't that dawn on you it might be a bit of a problem?
Yes, it did, but I didn't think it would be because it wasn't that serious, and it was very short. So when he came into the picture, I believed that, you know, she could sit down and do whatever she was going to do while I pursue him.
You hear the way she said that? Do what she was gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know what she was going to do.
I didn't either. But what she did do was be very, very, you know what I mean? It was, in a lack of better words, probably volatile towards a relationship. It was like her and I were trying to build a bond, and this
When
other
you
person...
say volatile,
like she didn't
what
care.
do you mean?
She didn't care. She did things, you know what I mean, flirted with her in front of me, became very, you know what I mean, it assumed as...
Flirted with the ex-girlfriend in front of you.
Yes, well, not her. The ex-girlfriend flirted with her, but she kind of liked the attention. You get what I mean? It was like a woman loving the attention, and it was presented to me like, you're being jealous, don't be insecure. And it's like, well, it's building into insecurity simply because I'm trying to build a relationship with her.
You were rocking back in between two people liking you, and you kind of enjoyed it. Anybody would. Don't lie. Don't lie.
Yes, Judge, I did. However, it's not exactly what he's saying. Regular conversation for me and her would be me flirting with her. And it wasn't the case. And so I have to deal with that back and forth, and that's caused a rift in our relationship.
Next, how did a Valentine's Day present from heaven turn into a problem for this couple? Have you been living together for years but find that splitting up is as complicated as divorce? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com. Become a fan at facebook.com/divorcecourt. Real people, real conflict, real judgments. Divorce Court continues.
Mr. Sanchez, you specifically say in your papers that Mrs. Alexander doesn't understand the concept of money. What do you mean by that? That she doesn't understand the concept of money?
Recently, this past Valentine's Day.
Yes.
This past Valentine's Day, she went out and bought me something for Valentine's Day, considering she was the only one working and I was at home with the children. So she had the funding to do so, you know what I mean? But we've always made a bond and a connection with each other to understand that if we're gonna consider it our money because our financial statuses, it's gonna be ours, we're gonna discuss it. When she got the job, the initial was, this is my money, I do what I want with it, and that changed. That was one thing, and she would completely disagree with me if I did that on my end. Another thing was that she went out and bought things, and when she bought it, I appreciated it because it was Valentine's Day, the gesture, it was our relationship, perfect. Yet she bought other things for other people, and I wanted her to not buy anything because at the time we needed the money for particular reasons to save.
So you say that she just spends her money frivolously.
Yes.
And without regard to the budget that you happen to be on.
Right.
Are you good with money, Ms. Alexander?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. He spends money frivolously. He doesn't know how to save. He doesn't know how to budget, and we've been through that plenty of occasions. He doesn't put the money in the direct places where it needs to go, where it's most important. He wants to buy it on clothes. He wants to, you know, spend it on partying and drinking and so have you. And I don't understand how I'm the one who can't manage money when it's clearly anytime he has the money within his hands,
It goes for him.
it goes, I don't know. Sometimes it goes for him, sometimes I don't know where it is.
Can I interject with that?
Yeah, but
Your
go
Honor?
right ahead, sir.
Okay, so she's indicating that when I have money, I spend it, or whether she said, I don't know where it goes. The whole fact of the matter is that whenever I give money to her, she always comes to me at the end of the day, is like, I still have the money you gave me. And it's like, yeah, because everything that we've been buying, I've been spending. So that's why it looks like I'm frivolous with money, because you're asking for this, this, that, and the third. We need this, this, that, and the third, and you don't have to go in your pocket. So at the end of the week or at the end of the month, when
That's
she's
not
like, I
true.
still have this amount of money, how did you spend all that money? Because I was the only one buying anything. You want to drink and party?
Okay.
We're gonna have to do it together because we're together, and that's where the money.
I got you. Ms. Alexander, you say you really can't be yourself when you're around Mr. Sanchez. What does that mean?
Well, I can't be myself for one because Mr. Sanchez always wants to put me in a place where I'm either doing too much, too little, or in between somewhere. And when we are in certain situations, I have to sit back and hold my tongue and hold my emotions.
You guys are gonna have to tell me a story. You guys tell me conclusions. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's making me feel this way. Give me a story so I can make a conclusion.
Okay.
Take your time, take your time.
Okay. Hold on. My train of thought.
You want me to come back
Yes,
in a second? Mr. Sanchez, do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, the story and one thing really is that Heaven, with a considerable scenario that she's talking about, she said I always put her in a place, I always hold her somewhere. She's a very self-centered person at times. She can be very self-worthy, and it's not about just self-preservation, it's simply just about me. So this time last year, she was continuously going out on weekends with the person that we had originally moved in when we met with. And would never consider the time that we could spend. I'm watching the woman that she's out with, I'm watching her child plus my 2 children at home. I'm at home by myself with them, and she's going weekend after weekend without, and she's like, I need this. Considering she was young, she's been with me since she was 19, didn't really get an opportunity to grow into a young woman. I understood it trying to be her man.
Right.
But it got to the point where she wasn't even considering how I feel. She didn't turn it around and say, hey girl, can you watch my children while I go out with my man?
My man and I can go out together.
And she didn't do that.
Ms. Alexander, is there any truth to that?
Yes, there is. And I didn't consider that because I wanted to go out. I wanted to have some alone time. I wanted to get away. And
But why not with me?
Because of the arguments and back and forth, I just didn't want to spend that kind of time with him.
I got it.
When Divorce Court continues, is Adam's attitude about intimacy ruining his relationship with Heaven?
Do you think this couple can stop arguing and patch up their relationship? Call 1-800-282-1991 to vote now and see if America agrees with your opinion. You'll also receive some valuable offers. Call now, 1-800-282-1991.
If you would like your case heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com and join the conversation on Twitter at Divorce Court. Divorce Court continues.
Ms. Alexander, you say that you did have a girlfriend come over once and Mr. Sanchez did in fact hit on her.
Yes, Your Honor, he did. Adam is not as innocent as he may seem. He, basically, she came to stay with us just for a little while. And when we got back to the house, the whole time, they're flirting. And this is like so inappropriate, so out of line. And I am, trying to stay calm. I'm furious and really don't know how to go about the situation. So anyway, later on, following him flirting all night with my friend, I go and I take a shower and he comes in and we have sex. And now at the time I'm pregnant. And after that I go for a walk and I come back and come to find out he tries to go and have sex with her. Now who in their right mind would do that to your woman and she's pregnant and you just finished having sex with me?
Mr. Sanchez, did that occur?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I definitely did
explain
that.
that?
Well, what happened was that what she left out was that this is actually the same person or the same woman that she was flirting with when we had originally moved in together after the month's time.
We're going to call her Susie Q.
Susie Q moved in.
This is Susie
So
Q
here's
from
Susie
the very
Q.
beginning.
Here's Susie Q right back into our lives again. And it was definitely an uncomfortable situation for both of us. It was a necessity to help a friend out. The history led to the cause. You know what I mean? It's really just as if...
That's no excuse, Your Honor.
I don't even understand it. The history led to the cause.
Because...
Did you have a sexual history with Susie Q?
Partly.
And you had a sexual history with Susie Q that began while she was seeing Susie Q?
Partly.
And when you moved in, you were having sex with both Ms. Alexander and Susie Q?
No.
He attempted to, Your
Well,
Honor,
see, yeah,
and she refused him. That's what happened.
No, that was the second time. The first time she came to me and she approved it. When we
you
first
I
moved
didn't
in
approve
with
anything like
when we
that, Your
first moved
Honor.
in with one another, she did. The girl said she was interested in having sex with me, and she asked her, and she said yes. And she got upset with me because I said yes.
Did you tell her yes to make, in an effort to make sure he'd say no? To
And
see
it-
if he would say no?
I guess
mean,
you
did
could,
he-
yes,
did you
it
bait
was
him?
like that. And in a sense, she approached it to me because of him being so good looking. I didn't agree to it. However, when she brought it up, I said, okay, well, I'm gonna sit back and play the field and see how this goes. I don't know this man.
Ooh. Listen, people.
So that's why I said the history made it so that as soon as we came
I
back to
don't
the
think
same
it's
scenario.
a history problem. I think it's a moral problem. I think it's a problem that stems from not understanding what sex is, not understanding what a relationship is. You're moving in a guy, you're sleeping with this woman says she wants to sleep with that guy. You say, okay, then you get mad when he does it. I mean, you're setting up a situation that can't work out. Sex is a part of a meaningful relationship. If you're just gonna do it as a round robin game, don't have kids at least.
Judge Lynn Toler's ruling next. Divorce Court. Judge Lynn Toler's ruling right now.
So, Mr. Sanchez, I'm not quite sure what exactly is your status at this point with Ms. Alexander. Are you leaving her and the kids?
I don't want to. I don't particularly want to, but yet at the same time, Heaven and I, on a moral standpoint, to go back, we don't believe that staying together for the sake of the children would be any better. We would both sit here in misery, and since misery loves company, we wouldn't go anywhere. We just sit in each other's face with company, be miserable. And they'll see that as gonna just be a chain reaction. At this point, I just simply wanna make sure that, with the advice of you, whether or not we can move forward, whether or not these are simply issues we can get past. You know what I mean? I recently bought her a ring just for sentimental value. It wasn't a lot of money for the ring, you know what I mean? But she turned around and felt that it was a necessity to pawn the
How
ring.
long ago did you buy the ring?
March 23rd of this year.
Okay. And was it an engagement ring?
That was the premise behind it.
That was the premise behind it.
Yeah,
See
to
what
be an
that
engagement
sounds
ring.
like?
Have you ever just said yes or no in your entire life?
No.
Yes, I
Either
have.
it was an engagement
No.
ring or it was an engagement
Yes,
ring.
it was an engagement ring.
Yes, it was an engagement
Yes,
ring.
it
You
was
would-
an engagement ring.
And the engagement ring, because of his behaviors and actions that he takes with not being consistent with our money management, spending the money wisely, I had to pawn that ring. That
Gotcha.
ring.
I got you. And you want the money for the ring back, which I'm not going to give you, but I am going to give you a bucket load of advice. The first thing is quit moving people in with you. That never works out. Never, ever, 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 ever works out. That's too many hormones in too small of a space with too little things to contain you, especially since you have amorphous values. You know, you don't, this is what I do, this is what I don't do. Some people are very rigid like that. Now, y'all just like a puff of smoke. Ooh, there's somebody over here, let me do this. Ooh, there's somebody over there, let me do that. If you have puff of smoke value, you can't be in a milieu where there's other people like that. That's number one. Number two, never move anybody in when you got kids. You don't know what they're up to. You don't know what the people they know who they bring over are up to. You got to keep your house stable and secure. You don't want it like Grand Central Station with people coming in and out and all that kind of stuff. And then what you have to do is not just kind of slide into a relationship. You can't just kind of fall into a commitment. You got to make one. You got to say, hey, you my man. This is what I expect. This is what I want. This is where I'm headed. This is how we're going to raise our children. This is how we're going to deal with our money. This is how we're going to run our lives. We're going to be adults about this. We're going to make decisions. We're going to run our lives, not our lives run us. You understand what I'm saying? That's what
Yes,
you two
Your Honor.
need to do. I can't help you until you two decide to grow up.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then once you decide to grow up, which I would recommend since you already have children, then you can make an accurate decision as to whether or not you want to stay or to go. But in the meantime, in between time, make no more babies until you can make a mature decision about what's up with the two of you. There will be no recovery in this matter. It is so ordered.
Heaven and Adam appreciate the judge's ruling and are working to provide a stable and secure home.